Hey everyone, I am on my way to the theater for the performance tonight, and I'm so excited. But anyways, I was sitting here, and I wanted to make a video today, just to kind of document what's going on in my life right now. But I was listening to an episode of Emma Chamberlain's Anything Goes podcast, and I immediately as she was talking about um, whatever she was talking about, I was like, I saw this vision of what I wanted to talk about today. And what I want to talk about today is that I'm not perfect, but I'm better. And, I feel like there's so much sentiment about being perfect and having everything go your way and go well in life. And I mean, I've struggled a lot with this personally of wanting things to be perfect and clean and everything is in its little place and that does feel very secure to me. Like I do feel more secure in life when things are going um how I expect them to, I guess. Sorry. um but yeah, learning to let go of that has honestly been such a difficult journey, but I know it's needed, I guess. I do feel a lot less control over my life, but I do feel a lot happier, I guess. And I feel a lot more free. And going back to the video I posted a few days ago about not caring, I think that's also where it comes from, of this place of deep rooted radical self love where it's yeah, I'm not perfect, but you know what? I'm trying to be better. And I think that there is so much beauty in trying to be better. And I think we all need to embrace trying to be better more. Because I do feel I you see so many things about Gen Z being conservative, I guess, in nature, where there's this need to conform to one way. And this is from my experience of, being a BIPOC in Utah, which is a predominantly white state, I've always felt this need to look a certain way, dress a certain way. And I realized as I get older that I start to care less and less about being perfect in other people's eyes, you know? Sorry, y'all are literally on a roller coaster. So I have a little sticky thing on the back of my phone, and I currently have it stuck to the little Subaru logo on my steering wheel, just because I didn't feel like propping my phone up and then having it fall every 5 seconds. But so sorry if you're motion sickness. Just look away, I guess. Um, but anyways, yeah, there's such a fight to be normal, right? And I think part of the reason why I am the way I am, and I do carry such confidence about myself and in me, is because I respect the imperfection found within me. I do respect that a lot. Like this is my first time living, and I think granting yourself that grace unlocks the ability in yourself to be free. Cuz there's so much talk about oh, you're trapped. You read any self-help book, it talks a lot about this narrative of being trapped and being held back, I guess, from life or whatever. Or whatever, whatever it is, there's a secret to becoming free that I believe is just respecting where you're at. And Today I woke up and it was hard. Life like life was lifing and I felt like shit. Like, like I felt bad. I felt evil. I felt, wrong. I felt all this doubt and shame. Um and you want to know what I did? I picked myself up and I went to the gym. And I let people in my life know that I was having a hard time, and that was it. That's all I needed to do. And you know what? Like, I still feel a little bit of this residual fear and anxiety about where my life is going and what's next for me. And I fear that, but also I'm learning to channel that fear into things. I feel like fear is a great emotion. Fear is a great, life thing. Like, it genuinely, like, think about your intuition and stuff like that. Like, it saves people a lot of the time. But fear with no reins is like dangerous. I feel like it's a very dangerous territory to live in. And so my way of reining in the fear coursing throughout my body the majority of the time is literally by channeling it into something. And whether that be like, a new art piece or a song or is singing or dancing or working out, even, like, there's just so many ways that I've found that I resonate with in reining in the fear, because I don't want to let fear control me. And I think that's where a lot of people get tripped up with perfection, is they have this fear that if it's not perfect, this is going to happen, or, like, if everything is perfect, the fear of it all not happening and not um sorry, a car almost ran a red light. That was crazy. Oh my gosh. I hope you can see the shock on my face. I was like, oh, are they gonna go? But yeah, like, the fear of perfection will never beat the love of imperfection. And I stand on that. You know what I mean? There's so much more to give when you let it be imperfect. And that's the grace that I am trying to give myself throughout this healing process, this journey that I'm on, because genuinely I do feel like there is so much more for me in this life. And it, like, things don't stop just because I think they are. The fear that things are just going to end is not a valid fear to me right now, because I know deep down in my subconscious that there is more. There is more. I am not done. I'm not finished. Um, because I say so. Because I say so, and I know deep down, like, Doc, like, I just know that things will eventually all turn out. And that one Panic at the Disco song, everything goes according to plan. Like, that's kind of me. That's kind of me right now. And do I know what the plan looks like? No. No. Why would like, there's no possible way for me to know what the next chapter of my life looks like, but I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like. I know that I feel cherished and treasured, and I know that it's filled with laughter and joy and whimsy and excitement. And speaking of excitement, like, I think that's something that we need to embrace more as a culture. As, like, a group, as a community, I think we need to start letting ourselves be excited for things. And I have this one note in my notes app. I know I keep talking about my notes app, but, like, I write down the things that I think will come in handy later, and trust they do, and trust that they do. Because I was looking through it the other day, and the last one that I wrote was literally in 2024 in October, and it was, I am replacing doom with excitement. And it all surrounds this concept of replacing the if with when. And like, mainly obviously that was about um pertaining to emotions surrounding love and whatever, right? You could be scared and feel feelings of doom and get yourself caught into this cycle of like, if, like, oh, what if this happens, or what if they think this, or like, what if this happens, and it just is never ending. Or you could replace all those thoughts with, you know this might not be how it's going right now, but when this happens, or I'm going to allow this to happen when this, you know, like if this were to happen, it carries a lot of anxiety. Um, but telling yourself, I'm going to let things play out the way they need to. And when things work out, I can't wait to know what that looks like. I can't wait to know what that feels like. Oh, I accidentally paused the video. But yeah, like there's just so much more excitement when you realize that life can surprise you. And you have to be willing to let life surprise you. And I guess that's kind of what I need to remind myself of, is like, hey, brother, you might not know what the hell you're doing. Literally. I keep burping. You might not know any of that. But when things do start to happen, like, it's that in between. It's the in between things where it's like you might be here now, but you know where you want to be. And it's like trusting that whatever happens in that little gap of time is what needs to happen. That excites me. That doesn't fill me with gloom and doom, or at least it shouldn't, because change is exciting, right? And there is so much to love about change. I feel like we fear change a lot, but I'm one to embrace the feelings of change. Um though sometimes I'm going to be honest with you, like it does kind of hurt. It does make me scared a lot of the time. Um and that's just human nature, but the character that I know myself to be embraces that and does not fear that, because why would I? Change is natural, it happens. um and it's really hard, because I do feel like I go back and forth between these like two mindsets so often, and I go through these phases and these cycles in each respective mindset. But every single time I do feel like I learn something. Like, I do feel you need to have both. Yeah, I do believe that. And right now, like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I am a little afraid. I'm a little afraid. But that doesn't mean I can't also be a little excited. Two things can be true. And right now, I'm afraid, but also so excited. And I feel like I'm trusting that things will work out, because they will. I hope. I know. I know they will, because they have in the past and they will again. And it's just this moment right now that I'm trying to be in here with you. Like, it's gonna take us a second to start to feel normal again. It's Jacob. Hi, Jacob. Um, but yeah, I think that's all for this little video. It's a little bit shorter. Sorry about all the twisting and turning. I do think it's funny though. And you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care. I hope you enjoyed the little drive with me, except point of view, you're my steering wheel. But yeah, have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.